YouTube, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in to Members Only. Now, you already know, man, you gotta get the lights up because you already know what this about to do. Now, tonight, we're taking it back to Chicago because I like how y'all was vibing in that last joint. Don't forget to hit the playlist. Check out my last couple videos. Let's get right into it. Now, Shorty G, he didn't start off as a GD. He moved under a whole different flag. In his younger years, Shorty G was a stone-cold enforcer with the Black Peach Stones of Chicago. Known for his fearlessness and raw aggression, he quickly built a reputation in the streets as someone who handled business with no hesitation. He was doing his thing, man. He was making things happen. Whether it was protecting a block, enforcing the street rules, or chasing money, he was all about his dollar. He was doing his thing. He did it on a high level. Shorty G, he moved with a purpose, and he was respected early for his commitment. But the streets talk, and moves get made. So Shorty, he flipped to the Gangster Disciples and didn't just fall in line, he climbed straight to the top. In '92, Larry Hoover officially handed Shorty G the ball. Hoover was still the chairman behind the wall, but Shorty was running Chicago. He was the one making the calls, moving the work, collecting the money, and keeping the discipline tight. He wasn't just another dude on the block. He was the street boss. He was the structure. See, back then, the Gangster Disciples couldn't just wild out. They had rules. They had ranks. It was order out there. You had a chairman at the top, the two boards, then the governors, the regents, the coordinators, and the soldiers. Every zone in the city had a leader. Now, and if you wanted to move work in GD territory, you had to buy from them at their set prices. You had to pay street tax, no matter who you was. They didn't care if you was a member or not. If you wanted to get in the game, you had to fall in line. They had every area on lock. If you didn't pay, you got taxed another way. Fines, beatings, or worse. Some didn't even make it back. Shorty G, he enforced all that. He was the one making sure that the money moved up and the orders moved down. You couldn't play with his name or his position. The streets feared him, but they also respected him heavy. Now, and even while locked up, Larry Hoover was still tapped in. He called home and checked on the operations. He made sure things was running smooth. But when those calls started getting reckless, Shorty G would cut it off cold. Don't talk that shit on this line. He knew that the feds was listening. He knew how to move smart, but it was too late. He wasn't loud, he wasn't sloppy. He kept everything in order. He ran the streets like a tight ship. Every corner, every hustler, every dollar, he had his hands in. But you know how the feds move, right? They patient, they build slow, they watch, they listen. And when they finally struck, they didn't come for the corner boys, nah. They came for the top dogs. They called it Operation Headache, with intentions to wipe out the GDs for good. You cut the head off, the whole body fall. Shorty G got caught up in the middle of all that. The charges hit him like a truck, running a drug network, street taxes, extortion, murder plots. The feds threw the book at him. They sent him straight to ADX Florence, the Supermax, the cage for the so-called worst of the worst. And that's where they stash you when they want to make you disappear for good. No phones, no movement, no nothing. But here's where Shorty G, he showed what he really was built like. Years into his time, they came to him with a deal. The feds told him, we'll move you to a lower level security joint, give you a better living, less lockdown. But Shorty said, not unless Larry Hoover gets the same move. If not, just let me go back to my cell and die. See, that's when you know you're dealing with a different kind of man. He could have made his time easier. He could have walked out the cell a little sooner, but he chose to stay in the hole out of loyalty to the chairman. Most people would have jumped at the deal, but Shorty G, he stayed solid. He stayed where he was until Larry could move too. That's rare. That's why the streets still whisper his name. But shortly after, years of being loyal, years of staying down, and doing what he had to do as a man, something nobody expected happened. President Joe Biden commuted Shorty G's life sentence after decades burying him in the system. Shorty G, he walks free. Now, one of the most powerful GDs to ever touch the pavement was back into the world. See, his story ain't about fairy tales. It's all about what happens when you really control the streets. It's about the power, the order, the loyalty, and the weight that comes with that. He went from the Stones to GD royalty. He held down a nation. He sat down in the feds for life and refused to turn his back on the nation. See, people on the outside or say it's stupid. But most don't understand. When you decide to step into that life, you choose to commit to a set of rules that you just have to follow for the rest of your life. And it sometimes comes back to haunt you. But that's a part of being a man. Some like to justify things and make excuses. But an excuse is just the start of a lie. Excuses are made to avoid responsibility. And nowadays, you don't see none of that. A lot of people run from responsibility. Today's gangsters, man, they skip the ranks, they jump straight to the fame with a viral post or a self-proclaimed title. The code is diluted. Loyalty flips faster than the IG story. Old school gangster operations were organized like corporations. Shorty G didn't just shoot or hustle. He ran day-to-day operations as Hoover's right-hand man. That means strategy, supply chains, and discipline. New school gangsters, they often freelance. One day they're beefing, the next day they live streaming from the ops block. No structure, just vibes and chaos. The streets used to be chess, now it's checkers with no rules. Shorty G, he didn't need to be seen to be felt. His name alone bought fear. Today's, man, these gangsters, man, they chase the limelight. They worried about a viral status more than actual street control. They post guns, money, and locations, making themselves hot before they even build a rep. Back then, exposure meant danger. Today, exposure is the goal. That's backwards, way backwards. Shorty G understood consequences. Every move could bring life or death or a federal case. Old heads were trained to avoid indictments. They studied law books in the joint, stayed silent during cases, and kept their circle tight. Today's gangsters, man, they leave a digital trail longer than their rap sheet. They self-snitch on live. They brag in their lyrics and forget that the feds scroll too. But the bottom line is, Shorty G, he came from an era where your name meant something. It's earned. It's earned in the trenches, behind the walls, and through the sonic power moves. Today's era, it's about who could go viral the fastest, not who can move the smartest. See, respect and fear aren't the same. Old school gangsters had both. A name like Shorty G, it still rings. Most new names, forgotten by next week's algorithm. But shout out to Chicago. Man, y'all get the likes up. Hit the comments, don't be a stranger. Let me know what y'all think. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. Turn your notifications on so y'all don't miss out. And definitely check out the playlist. And we're gonna bring y'all this heat every week. Join the Patreon so y'all don't miss out on exclusive videos, man. I got some shit on there. Y'all take it easy out there. Y'all be safe, man. I'm out.